Here's my book, Courage, the Choice That Makes the Difference, Your Key to 1,000 Doors. This book contains 166 essays, all about courage from one perspective or another. One of the reasons I wrote this book is I found that if you understand courage clearly and you're willing to choose it on a consistent basis, you can solve any problem you have and create the life that you want. And one of the deepest themes of this book is how we resist fear. We don't make friends with our fear. And sometimes the resistance to fear is fairly obvious, like worry and nervousness are more obvious resistances to fear. But if I said to you, resentment is a resistance to fear, or guilt is a resistance to fear, or perfectionism is a resistance to fear, it might not be so obvious to you, right? Today we're going to talk about just one of these, perfectionism. Perfectionism as a resistance to fear. I want to suggest to you that if you ask yourself, okay, would I be nervous if I did this to a lower standard? Would I be nervous if I just did this good enough instead of perfect? Or would I be frightened that somebody might blame me, or I might blame myself if I did it to a lower standard or just good enough? If the answer to that is yes, then you've got resisted fear. And the solution to that is to make friends with the fear, like to take some deep breaths and say, boy, am I scared. If I just do it good enough, somebody's going to blame me. Or, boy, am I scared. If I only do it good enough, I might lose my job. And to make friends with the fear and honor yourself for choosing the courage to do that. But perfectionism is sort of like a superstition. I mean, you've been this way for a long time and you've still survived, right? So you think that your perfectionism had something to do with you surviving. And you never really experiment with, what would it be like to lower my standards? What would it be like to have a more easygoing life? I want to tell you a story a short story of my mother. She was such an incredible example of this, if you will, not being a perfectionist in a certain area, and that was in the area of housekeeping. She would just do housekeeping good enough. She told me this one story. By the way, she lived in the mountains of Tennessee, about 50 miles north of Chattanooga. She told me this story where one of her friends came over, and by the way, she had a lot of friends, so her good enough housekeeping didn't keep her from having friends. But one of her friends was over, and she said, Dorothy, do you know you have cobwebs in the corner of this room? And my mother said, yes, but they don't bother me. But her friend was so uncomfortable, maybe she was a little bit perfectionist. She said, may I please remove them for you? And my mother said, no problem. So, choose courage to challenge your perfectionism and see how life can be a lot more easy and actually get more done. Thank you.